There's a quiet catastrophe unfolding in the aisles, one you've likely walked past a dozen times without noticing. While the world focuses on flashy headlines, the life-saving basics, the cheap, reliable staples we depend on, are slowly being erased from the shelves. This isn't just inflation, it's a systematic disappearance. By December 2025, these essential items might be gone entirely, replaced by luxury goods you can't survive on. I've tracked the shipping manifests and watched the eerie patterns emerge in the supply chain. The data is terrifying. We aren't just facing higher prices, we are facing a future where basic sustenance is a memory. Pay close attention, especially to item number 10. Once you see what's happening in the shadows, you'll never look at a grocery store the same way again. The clock is already ticking. 1. The white gold of collapse, preserving life with salt. When the structures of our world begin to crumble, the most overlooked items become treasures. At the very top of this grim list is iodized salt, a substance so common it's practically invisible on our kitchen counters. But its familiarity is a deception. You've witnessed shelves emptied of bread and water before a storm, but salt operates on a different, more primal level. It remains deceptively cheap only until the moment society remembers its true, ancient power. In a prolonged crisis, when the hum of refrigerated trucks ceases and the concept of fresh becomes a distant memory, salt transforms from a simple seasoning into a fundamental tool of survival. Its value will not just rise, it will detonate. Stockpiling salt isn't about flavor, it's about securing a multifaceted lifeline. You are acquiring a powerful preservative, a potent disinfectant, an essential electrolyte balancer, and one of the most historically significant barter currencies known to humanity. The quiet creep of inflation, driven by escalating shipping and processing costs, is just a whisper of the price explosion to come. In a true economic downturn, as supply lines fracture, bulk mineral salts could easily double or triple in price, almost overnight. What you buy today is a permanent asset. Salt is eternal. It never expires, never spoils, and its chemical potency never wanes. Every container you seal and store is a concrete investment in a future where stability is a forgotten luxury. When protein is scarce, you will possess the means to cure and preserve what you can find. When dehydration becomes a life-threatening reality, you will have the key to creating rehydration solutions. And when the unprepared become desperate, you will hold a currency they will trade anything for. Do not wait for empty shelves to teach you this lesson. 2. The quiet powerhouse. Lentils as your survival fuel. As the economy falters and grocery budgets are stretched to their breaking point, your focus must shift to foods that offer maximum nutritional yield for the absolute minimum cost. In this unforgiving equation, dry lentils emerge as perhaps the most intelligent protein and carbohydrate source you can possibly stockpile. During a collapse scenario, every resource becomes precious, especially fuel. This is where lentils cast a long shadow over other legumes. They cook with astonishing speed, requiring little to no soaking and consuming a mere fraction of the fuel and water needed for larger beans. In a world where every minute of cooking time drains your finite resources, this efficiency is not just convenient, it is a critical strategic advantage. Saving fuel means saving money, time, and the mental energy you'll need to navigate a world in chaos. Nutritionally, lentils are a marvel of efficiency, delivering precisely what a body under duress requires. They provide high-quality protein, slow-release carbohydrates for sustained energy, and a wealth of fiber, iron, and essential minerals that are crucial for maintaining physical strength and mental clarity. They are compact, lightweight, and when sealed properly in mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, they can last for a decade or more. A cheap, bulk purchase today becomes your long-term food insurance. But a dark shift is already underway. Major global exporters have begun redirecting supplies, signaling a projected price spike of 10–15% in the very near future. History shows that when markets tighten, the foods that are easiest to store and transport are the first to vanish. Lentils are at the top of that list. Do not view them as an optional addition. See them as the very bedrock of your survival pantry. 3. The gift of time. Instant rice in a world without power. In the skeletal framework of a collapsed economy, time and fuel become resources you cannot afford to waste. Widespread fuel shortages, rolling blackouts, and the skyrocketing cost of propane will transform the simple act of preparing a meal into a daunting logistical challenge. It is in this grim reality that instant rice reveals its true power as a survival staple. Unlike its conventional counterpart, which demands long, fuel-intensive boiling times, instant rice is ready in mere minutes. Often, it requires nothing more than the addition of hot water. When you are exhausted, stressed, cold, or meticulously rationing your last canister of cooking gas, those saved minutes and ounces of fuel are not a small convenience, they are everything. They are the difference between a warm meal and a cold one, between preserving your strength and depleting it. Today, instant rice is astonishingly cheap, often found for around $1 per pound. Do not be lulled into a false sense of security by this price. Global rice markets have already seen alarming price jumps, and history proves that quick-cook, convenience-oriented foods are always the first casualties of a crisis. They are swept from the shelves by panicked crowds who instinctively understand their value. Storage is blessedly simple. A cool, dark pantry will keep it stable for years, and for true long-term security, Mylar bags can extend its life even further. Its versatility is another key asset. Instant rice can be paired with almost anything: beans, lentils, canned meats, or simple broth cubes to create warm, morale-boosting meals when comfort is a commodity in short supply. In a fragile world, consistency is survival. Instant rice offers a guaranteed source of calories you can depend on, quickly and efficiently. 4. The resilient bean, chickpeas for enduring strength. When currency loses its meaning and protein sources become scarce, the humble dried chickpea will rise from its status as an overlooked pantry item to become a non-negotiable survival essential. Few other staples can match its dense nutritional profile. When paired with grains, chickpeas form a complete protein, delivering the building blocks your body needs to maintain muscle and strength. They provide slow-burning carbohydrates for lasting energy, preventing the energy crashes that can cloud judgment in stressful situations. They are also rich in iron, magnesium, and fiber, ensuring long-lasting satiety that keeps you feeling full and focused through difficult days. While it is true that chickpeas demand more preparation than lentils, requiring soaking and longer cooking times, the return on that investment is immense, especially in a long-term scenario. The payoff is hearty, deeply satisfying meals that can stretch your food supply further than you thought possible. With basic ingredients like oil, garlic powder, and salt, you can transform chickpeas into robust stews, pan-fried patties, or even a survival-style hummus that provides a much-needed sense of normalcy. Their storage potential is exceptional. Sealed in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, chickpeas can remain viable for a decade or more, making them a low-cost investment that will nourish you long after more perishable goods have vanished. But the window of opportunity is closing. Global demand is rising, and adverse weather in key growing regions has already pushed prices upward. In any severe economic downturn, affordable protein sources are the first to disappear from the market. Dried chickpeas will be no exception. Secure them in bulk now, seal them for the long haul, and add a pillar of nutrient-dense strength to your stockpile. 5. The silver harvest canned fish as liquid gold. When the intricate web of our supply chain finally snaps and fresh food becomes a relic of a bygone era, canned sardines and mackerel will instantly become one of the most valuable assets in your possession. These small tins are cheap today, a simple $1 or $2, but their true worth is revealed only in the stark light of a crisis. They demand nothing from you. No refrigeration, no cooking, no fuel, and no preparation. You simply open the can and you have immediate access to real, high-quality protein, healthy fats, omega-3 seconds, calcium, and essential B vitamins. This level of instant, nutrient-dense nourishment is exceedingly rare among survival foods. During recessions and societal breakdowns, protein shortages strike swiftly and with brutal efficiency. The canned seafood aisle is always one of the first to be stripped bare. Factor in the pressures of overfishing, soaring shipping costs, and rising global demand, and it becomes clear why analysts are forecasting significant price increases for all canned fish. In a crisis, your body will scream for fats, for energy, for mental focus, and for warmth. Sardines and mackerel deliver more usable nutrition per ounce than many expensive, purpose-built survival foods. Properly stored, these cans can last for 5 to 8 years, making them both a long-term insurance policy and an immediate source of comfort. When morale is at its lowest, a simple meal of warm rice topped with sardines can feel like a feast, a potent reminder of better times that provides the psychological fortitude to keep going. Do not wait for the chilling sight of empty shelves to serve as your warning. Secure this powerful protein source now before its price reflects its true life-sustaining value. 6x of P, the dense energy of desperation, peanut butter as a lifeline. When the comfortable veneer of modern life strips away and inflation begins its slow, agonizing consumption of your grocery budget, high-calorie sustenance becomes a matter of life and death. In this darkening landscape, peanut butter ceases to be a childhood spread and transforms into one of the most critical emergency foods you can possess. It is a dense, concentrated brick of energy packed with fats, protein, and calories that your body will scream for when stress hormones are high and food sources are scarce. Unlike other staples that require precious water or fuel to prepare, peanut butter is ready instantly. In the pitch black of a power outage or during a fuel crisis where every flame is a luxury, a single spoonful offers a life-saving dose of immediate energy. It requires no heat, no refrigeration, and no preparation. It is survival in a jar. However, the true masterstroke for the prepared mind is powdered peanut butter. While standard jars are essential for immediate use, the powdered variety is the ghost in your pantry. Lightweight, non-greasy, and capable of enduring for a decade or more when sealed in Mylar. It waits patiently for the day regular supplies rot or run dry. You can reconstitute it with water, stir it into oats, or blend it into shakes to create protein-rich meals from dust. But the warning signs are already flashing for those willing to look. Droughts in major peanut-producing regions are decimating yields, forcing processors to quietly raise prices. In a total economic collapse, calorie-dense, shelf-stable foods like this are the first to vanish into the hordes of the desperate. Secure your supply now, before the shelves are bare and the realization hits that you are too late. 7. The ghost of breakfast. Powdered eggs for a broken world. There will come a morning when the simple luxury of a fresh egg is a distant memory, a symbol of a time when supply chains functioned and livestock were abundant. During past shortages, we have seen how quickly fresh eggs disappear and how violently their prices can spike. This is why powdered eggs are not just a convenience. They are a strategic fortress against malnutrition. A single number 10 can holds the nutritional equivalent of dozens of eggs, immune to the rot and fragility that makes fresh produce a liability in a crisis. They require no refrigeration, no delicate handling, and they do not spoil. In a world where electricity is intermittent and waste is a sin, this stability is priceless. Powdered eggs offer more than just survival. They offer a semblance of normalcy when the world is falling apart. They are the versatile backbone of a crisis kitchen, capable of being scrambled, baked into breads, or used to fortify bland survival rations with critical protein. When your body is fraying under the strain of survival, carbohydrates alone will not save you. You need the rebuilding power of real protein. Properly stored in a cool, dark place, these powders can last for 15 years, a silent investment against a volatile future. But the threat is real. Past avian flu outbreaks have sent prices soaring by nearly 30% overnight, and another wave could wipe inventory clean instantly. In a supply chain breakdown, livestock-dependent goods are the first to fail. Do not wait for the news reports to tell you it's over. Secure this vital protein source while it is still affordable, and ensure you can feed your family when others are starving. 8. The white liquid gold. Shelf-stable milk's hidden value. When the economy begins to fracture and the trucks stop rolling, the dairy aisle is the canary in the coal mine. Milk is heavy, perishable, and utterly dependent on a complex cold chain that is far more fragile than you realize. When the lights go out and the refrigerators hum into silence, fresh milk becomes a memory within hours. This is why shelf-stable and powdered milk are not optional. They are the calcium-rich anchor of a long-term survival plan. Powdered milk, when sealed in Mylar with oxygen absorbers, can remain viable for an incredible 20 years. It is a legacy food, one that will be there long after the current crisis has evolved into a new, harder way of life. This isn't just about drinking a glass of milk. It is about the flexibility to cook, to bake, and to provide comfort. You can stir it into oatmeal, thicken soups, or create a warm, soothing drink that lifts morale when the nights are cold and dark. The psychological value of a warm cup of milk in a chaotic world cannot be overstated. While UHT, ultra-high temperature milk, offers a bridge for the medium term, lasting a year on the shelf, the long-term solution lies in powder. But listen closely to the market whispers. Global dairy powder prices have already surged, driven by booming demand in developing nations and shrinking domestic availability. In a collapse scenario, dairy alternatives will become items of immense barter value, traded like gold. Stock up now, seal your reserves, and guarantee a source of strength when the fresh supply is nothing but a story you tell your children. 9. The silent harvest. Canned pumpkin and sweet potato. As a crisis drags on, days turning into months, the monotony of survival food becomes a psychological enemy. Rice and beans keep you alive, but they do not nourish the spirit. This is where the overlooked cans of pumpkin and sweet potato become the silent heroes of your stockpile. These are not merely seasonal pie ingredients. They are dense, nutrient-packed powerhouses loaded with vitamin A, fiber, and potassium. They provide slow-burning carbohydrates that keep your blood sugar stable and your mind sharp when panic threatens to take over. In an economic collapse where fresh produce is either exorbitantly expensive or entirely absent, these cans offer a rare treasure: vegetable nutrition that requires zero refrigeration and almost no preparation. The utility of these staples is unmatched. You can stir them into porridges, use them to thicken watery stews, stretch limited flour supplies in pancakes, or eat them straight from the can with a pinch of spice for a morale-boosting treat. Their shelf life is deceptively long, easily lasting 3 to 5 years, and often remaining safe to eat far beyond printed dates if stored in the cool dark. But the shadows are lengthening over the fields. Extreme weather events in major growing regions are already driving costs up by double digits. As the public slowly wakes up to the necessity of shelf-stable produce, These specific items will vanish with shocking speed. Secure a case now while they are still viewed as holiday novelties, because in the stark reality of a collapse, nutrient-dense comfort will be a priceless commodity. 10. The golden grain of survival. Cornmeal's ancient reliability. In the depths of an economic crisis, the challenge is not just finding food, but stretching it. You need meals that fill bellies, warm bodies, and provide the psychological comfort of fullness. Cornmeal is the ancient answer to this modern terror. Currently cheap and abundant, it is a shapeshifter in the kitchen, capable of transforming into cornbread, dumplings, porridge, or fried cakes with minimal additional ingredients. In a collapse, when wheat flour may be rationed or impossible to find, cornmeal becomes the fallback grain that keeps families fed. It is calorie-dense, easy to cook, and pairs beautifully with the other items in your stockpile, powdered milk, eggs, and beans, to create complete, satisfying meals. Nutritionally, it provides the slow-burning fuel and essential trace minerals needed to stabilize energy levels when the stress of survival is draining you dry. Its shelf life is solid, but when packed away in Mylar with oxygen absorbers, it becomes a 5-year insurance policy against hunger. But do not be complacent. Global corn prices are volatile, rising as supply chains tighten and harvests face the unpredictability of a changing climate. If wheat shortages strike, the world will pivot to corn, and the shelves will be stripped bare in hours. Do not be the one scrambling for dust when the panic sets in. Stockpile cornmeal now, divide it into sealed, manageable portions, and secure a versatile, life-sustaining foundation for your family before the economic cracks widen into a chasm. 11. The white powder of comfort. Instant potatoes as emotional armor. When the economy collapses and the grinding weight of survival exhausts you to your very core, the value of food shifts from mere nutrition to psychological necessity. In a world stripped of conveniences, where every calorie is a battle and every meal a chore, instant mashed potatoes emerge not just as a side dish, but as a critical morale booster. They are the ultimate survival convenience food, requiring almost no fuel, zero culinary skill, and barely any water. A massive strategic advantage when propane is scarce, electricity is a memory, and clean water must be rationed, drop by drop. You simply add hot liquid, and in moments, you have a warm, filling, familiar meal that whispers of better times. This small comfort can be the difference between giving up and pushing through another dark day. Beyond the emotional support they provide, instant potatoes are calorie-dense and incredibly easy to digest, making them ideal for children or those weakened by illness or stress. They act as a perfect, neutral canvas for whatever other scraps you've managed to scavenge or save beans, canned meats, powdered cheese, or gravy mixes can all be stretched further when served over a mound of potatoes. Their shelf life is impressive. Stored in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, they can last up to a decade. Even in their original packaging, they offer years of stability. But do not ignore the silent alarm bells ringing in the agricultural sector. Potato yields in major U.S. regions are dropping as climate patterns shift violently, pushing prices on a steady upward trajectory. As supply chains fracture further, comfort foods will be the first to vanish. Secure your supply now to guarantee a cheap, warm, reliable meal source before the shelves are bare. 12. The golden strand. Pasta as the backbone of survival. In the grim calculus of a collapsing economy, pasta stands out as one of the most dependable survival foods you can hoard. Today, it is deceptively cheap, often $1 or less per pound, but its true value lies in its caloric return. A single pound offers over 1,000 calories of long-lasting energy, providing the fuel needed to keep bodies moving when the world stops. In a crisis where families struggle to keep children fed and morale steady, pasta becomes a lifeline. It cooks relatively quickly, requires no refrigeration, and possesses a chameleon-like ability to pair with almost anything remaining in your pantry. Whether it's canned tomatoes, beans, sardines, oil, bouillon, or simple spices, pasta transforms meager ingredients into a feast. Crucially, it is a food that children will eat without complaint, a factor that matters more than you realize until you are facing a hungry, scared child in a blackout. Properly stored in airtight containers, pasta is nearly immortal, lasting 5 to 10 years with ease. It is one of the most durable carbohydrates you can own. However, a storm is gathering on the horizon. Global durum wheat prices have already spiked significantly due to devastating droughts in Canada and Europe, and pasta manufacturers are the first to feel the pinch of these shortages. That cheap box on the shelf today is poised to double in price as scarcity takes hold. Do not wait for the sticker shock to paralyze you. Stockpile 20 pounds now while it is still accessible and build a reliable carbohydrate foundation before the price explosion leaves you hungry. 13. The ancient grain of eternity, hard red wheat berries. If the collapse stretches from weeks into months or years, the survivors won't just be those with canned goods. They will be the ones who hold the raw materials of life. Nothing beats hard red wheat berries for long-term resilience. These are not merely grains. They are a complete survival system in a kernel. When stored properly in Mylar bags or sealed buckets, hard red wheat berries have a shelf life that defies belief, lasting 25 to 30 years, outliving nearly every other item in your stockpile. In a crisis, they offer 3 critical advantages that processed foods cannot match. You can grind them into fresh, nutrient-dense flour for bread, cook them whole as a chewy, filling porridge, or sprout them to create fresh greens when vegetables are impossible to find or afford. At roughly 60 to 75 cents per pound in bulk, the value proposition is unbeatable. Remember, once ground, flour goes rancid in months, but the berry remains dormant and fresh for decades. But the warning signs are clear. For those watching the fields, droughts are hammering Kansas, Oklahoma, and other key wheat regions, tightening U.S. exports and driving domestic demand toward these long shelf-life grains. Bread shortages are not a dystopian fiction. We have already seen empty aisles during minor supply chain hiccups. Do not wait for the next, more permanent round of scarcity. Secure a bulk bag of wheat berries and a manual grinder now. By doing so, you grant yourself true food independence when the rest of the system fails. 14. The hidden calorie cache. Popcorn kernels beyond the movies. In the depths of a crisis, morale is as vital as calories, and popcorn kernels provide a unique, dual-purpose solution that most preppers overlook. While the masses see a movie night snack, the wise see a versatile, long-lasting grain that can sustain life. Stored properly, popcorn kernels last 5 to 10 years, and with oxygen absorbers and Mylar, they can remain viable for decades. This makes them one of the most undervalued survival carbohydrates available, costing mere pennies per serving. As a comfort food, it is unmatched, offering a warm, crunchy, and soothing snack that can break the monotony of survival rations and lift spirits when stress is suffocating. But the true secret lies in its versatility. Popcorn is simply a variety of flint corn, meaning these kernels can be ground into cornmeal if you possess a sturdy manual grinder. In a long economic downturn, when store shelves are stripped of processed corn products like cornbread mix and polenta, these little kernels become your hidden stockpile of usable flour. Global corn demand is spiking, and as supply chains tighten, corn-based goods will become scarce. These kernels store compactly, cook quickly, and offer variety when your meals start to feel identical. Add a large bag to your pantry now. You are not just buying a snack, you are securing a fallback grain source before shortages tighten their grip. 15. The breakfast of the apocalypse. Rolled oats for the long haul. When the initial shock of an economic collapse fades into the dull ache of a long depression, food fatigue becomes a dangerous enemy. In this landscape, rolled oats stand as a titan of reliability. They are filling, cost-effective, and incredibly nutritious, delivering long-lasting energy that stabilizes blood sugar and keeps hunger at bay far longer than most cheap carbohydrates. At less than $1 per pound in bulk, oats offer one of the lowest costs per meal in the entire survival pantry. What makes them truly priceless during a crisis is their simplicity. They require only hot water to prepare, and in extreme situations where fuel is non-existent, they can be soaked in cold water overnight to become edible. This efficiency saves your fuel, your time, and your sanity. Rolled oats are also the ultimate mixer, pairing with almost anything: powdered milk, peanut butter, sugar, canned pumpkin, spices, or even a scoop of powdered eggs for a protein boost. Stored in mylar with oxygen absorbers, they last well over a decade, making them a dependable backbone for long-term survival. History teaches us a harsh lesson. In past shortages, oats were among the first grains to disappear because families instinctively recognized their versatility and value. Do not wait for history to repeat itself while you stand in an empty aisle. Buy your oats in bulk now and secure a food source that will keep your body steady and your morale intact when the world around you is falling apart. Ramen, the brick of salvation. Ramen as a psychological anchor. When the economy finally buckles under the weight of its own debt and the supply lines fray, comfort becomes as rare as gold. In this bleak landscape, where stress is a constant, grinding companion, a simple brick of ramen noodles